good, everybody? I'm Brandon. Hey, bro, today I'm about to do another video for Most Amazing Top 10. These are the top 10 real criminals scarier than Pennywise. You already requested it. Don't trip, you not. Gotcha. Shout out to Most Amazing Top 10. They have a great channel. I love their channel. Clearly, y'all do too. That's why y'all keep requesting videos. I mean, you know, Pennywise ain't that scary anyway. But, I mean, I like scary movies personally. I don't know why. I just do. Fuck it. I really like to see scary movies. I like to try and get scared because a lot doesn't scare me. So when I go and I see a scary movie and it kind of makes me jump or your heart kind of beat fast, I don't know. I like that adrenaline rush. I think those are the people like me, I think we're the ones that like scary movies. Do they get to me after I see them? Nah, I don't ever be scared. Like, I don't have nightmares or nothing. But I fucks with scary movies. But now we about to hear about real criminals scarier than Pennywise in scary movies. So I don't know. We're gonna see what they talking about. I'm ready hopping into it. It's already a long video, so if I have anything to say, I'm just gonna speak over the video. Y'all know I could talk forever and ever. Look, I already made this intro hella long. I'm in the clouds right now. I'm chilling. So I mean, it is what it is. Let's hop on into it though.
So, the movies It 2 came out, and I heard they were scary, and I wouldn't know firsthand because I'm petrified of horror movies. My first case is Harry Potter 3, when the Dementors came into it, I just couldn't handle it. And then
that was a good one.
Caribbean, I couldn't handle the skeletons. I was 8 though, so like, give me a break. And then I tried to make it through Dawn of the Dead, and I only made it an hour through. So, there's that. So I always think, you know, maybe I should steer clear of creepy evil clown lurking in the sewers of streets that I'm pretty sure will haunt my nightmares forever. But now I work here, so I researched a bunch of serial killers and murderers scarier than Pennywise because, hey, that's the world we live in. And now let's be a little serious. But first, on a happier note, oh my god, wow, look at my cute sweater. Where did you get it? Check the link in bio and use code MA10 for $5 off this hoodie. Wow. Hey, Most Amazing family. I'm Abby here at Most Amazing Top 10, and I'm here to tell you about 10 real criminals scarier than Pennywise. There are many sensitive topics being talked about in this video, in addition to murder, due to the dark and disturbing things that many murderers do. So if that's too disturbing for you, please take this as your warning. Number 10, Bruce McArthur. I'm starting off with a recent serial killer. Most of the ones I'm going to be talking about are older cases because they are ones that I would say are talked about more, but we need to remember that criminals like this aren't just a thing of the past. In this case, Bruce McArthur is the man who admitted that he targeted Toronto's gay village to commit a string of murders from 2010 to 2017. The darkest thing about his murders, other than the killings of course themselves, was that he buried the remains of the bodies in planters. He was, and I guess is, I don't know, a landscaper, so the bodies were actually found at his clients' houses in their planters. Like, honestly, just imagine if you had a gardener or a landscaper and decided for yourself to spruce up your pots with a few annuals mixed in with the perennials, and you found a foot. I think I would yak, honestly. So take that as this is something that happened between 2010 and 2017. And so there are different theories on why he wasn't caught for those many years, but the serial killer allegedly targeted men who would not be missed, which is messed up. These people range from those struggling with homelessness to closeted married men, but the good news is Bruce McArthur ended up being sentenced to life in prison. Wrong as it is, McArthur isn't the only person to prey on the destitute or those in a less than ideal situation, which brings us to number 9. Dorothea Puente. Boardinghouse killer, death house landlady, call her what you will. She ran a boarding house in Sacramento, California, housing elderly and disabled tenants. She was popular with local social workers because she took what they called the tough cases: alcoholics, drug addicts, mentally ill, or abusive tenants. Even if you look at her picture, you may think, oh, it's a sweet old lady, but you're wrong. She would get her psychotherapist to prescribe her horse tranquilizers so she could stupefy and kill her victims before she would cash their social security checks. She preyed on the people that got assistance and that didn't have a strong support system in their lives. She collected at least 60 checks from the dead. She was caught after an investigation regarding one of her tenants led to police noticing disturbed soil on her property, like something was just buried there. She said that she was grabbing a cup of coffee and then she bolted right out of there. The police ended up digging up 7 bodies, and then they realized they had to begin the search for Puente, who didn't just go to get a cup of joe. They realized she was the killer. She was missing for 5 whole days before a pensioner she was talking to at a bar recognized her. She was charged with 9 murders and convicted of 3. Prosecutors said that Puente was one of the most cold and calculating female killers the country had ever seen. Number 8, David Parker. Parker Ray. He became known as the Toybox Killer. This came from the name he gave his trailer that he fitted out with torture devices and sex toys that he used to rape and torture women. He did this with his accomplice and girlfriend, Cindy Handy. He is believed to have tortured and killed over 50 women, targeting sex workers by pretending to be a police officer or asking for services. He was found out when an escaped victim of his abuse, Cynthia Virgil, escaped and knocked on a neighbor's door naked and handcuffed. The total number of his victims is unknown, in part due to the fact that Ray died due to a heart attack in 2002 before he was questioned by state police, but torturing and killing dozens of women is super scary to think about, so enough about that. We're going to move on to another lady killer. This is number 7,
These
Velma
people are
Barfield.
crazy.
Everyone around Velma Barfield who she was close to seemed to die. Her son Ronnie once asked, how could the good Lord allow this to happen to a faithful Christian like Velma Barfield? And this was because she was a charming old lady, but that could be how she nearly got away with murdering 6 people. First, her first husband's house went up in flames after a bad fight, and Barfield had snuck out with the kids. Next, after her next husband mentioned divorce once, he became mysteriously ill and died within a year of their marriage. Then she had another relationship that ended with her house burning down, and she moved in with her parents. There's nothing wrong with moving in with your parents later in life, if that's your situation, but then both of her parents died within a short period of time. After that, people dropped like flies around her, and you might have guessed it, it's because she was using rat poison to kill them. She confessed to 4 murders and was sentenced to be executed, but because she was defended in court as a sweet reformed Christian while her psychiatrist tried to convince the judge she had multiple personality disorder, there was a movement to defend her life. She was executed on November 2nd, 1984, as opposing crowds either sang hymns because they hoping for her to live, or chanted in hopes for her to die. But anyways, on to another lady killer.
That's crazy.
This is number 6, Nancy Hazel, aka Nanny Doss, also aka the Giggling Granny. This other husband killer was putting the serial in both serial romantic and serial killer. She confessed to the murder of 4 out of her 5 husbands, and authorities believe she may have been involved in the killings of many of her blood relatives as well, honestly. 2 of the possible family killings being the murder of 2 of her grandchildren in 1945. Nanny Doss likely stabbed her newborn daughter in the head with a pin and suffocated her 2-year-old grandson because he died due to asphyxiation. Overall, her murders lasted from the 1920s to 1954. When she was found out after loads of arsenic were found in the body of her late 5th husband, she confessed. Thing is, she was nicknamed the Giggling Granny because she couldn't talk about the murder she committed without laughing. They tried to talk to her and then she'd just start giggling, being like, yes, I killed them. Creepy, right? Anyways, on to another nickname that someone got, or some 2 people at number 5, the Hillside Strangler. The believed Hillside Strangler was actually 2 individuals. Kenneth A. Bianchi and Angelo Buono were 2 men who killed women and girls from the ages of 12 to 28 over a course of 4 months in the late 70s. They got their shared name as they left their bodies in the hills of Los Angeles, strangling them and then dumping them. So for backstory, the 2 were cousins that became pimps together. It's kind of believed that Buono influenced Bianchi into doing this. They targeted teenage runaways and they horrifically abused them in many ways. After some time, they moved into the criminal territory of murder. Not that the other things weren't criminal, but this is just intense. They would flash fake police badges at their victims, say they were taking them downtown before bringing them to Buono's upholstery shop and killing them. There are 10 victims that the 2 killed as a duo and 2 Bianchi killed alone. When the 2 were apprehended, the jury voted against capital punishment even when the judge argued otherwise. They were strangling, killing people, and I don't know. You decide what you would have done as the jury. Anyways, on to number 4, Richard Ramirez. Richard Ramirez also goes by another name, another nickname, this one the Night Stalker. Not very fun sounding. He was a self-proclaimed Satanist whose main methods of murder involved invading the victim's home before killing. His first known victim was a 79-year-old widow. After apparently waiting 8 months to continue his killing, he went on to continue assaulting, beating, and killing, building notoriety of being the Night Stalker in the Los Angeles area. Many victims died and some survived. There was panic building in the LA area until a fingerprint was discovered and his identity became known. His capture in August of 1985 is like one of It's just one of poetic justice out of a movie. A photograph and name of Ramirez is released to the public, and a day later, a man in East LA spotted him and told the police. This led to a chase, and then when Ramirez tried to steal a car to help his getaway, a crowd surrounded him and beat him up until police arrived. Poetic justice, as I said.
Yeah,
and
that's
okay,
crazy.
Buckle up, because this next one is a doozy for sure. Number 3, Andrew Cahoe. In the tiny Michigan town of Bath, Andrew Cahoe was known to be a bit odd among the 300 residents. People said he was violent towards animals, was a bit socially awkward, and one woman even alleged that he shot her dog. While animal abuse is horrible and should never be condoned,
like
this is small
crazy.
peas compared to what he later did. And if you think you're upset about taxation, you have nothing on Andrew. Cahoe blamed a property tax that was levied to fund construction of a new school building for his own financial hardships and planned a devastating attack. He had access to the Bath School building as he was known as a talented handyman. He was appointed to conduct repairs. Then he bought explosives, and then he planted them. Everyone else none the wiser. Then, on May 18th, 1927, Cahoe killed his wife and set his farm buildings on fire. Then, as rescuers arrived at the farm, the north wing of the school building exploded. It killed many of the people inside. Rescuers were starting to gather up at the school, and Cahoe drives up and stops, staying inside his vehicle. Then he detonates a bomb inside his car, killing himself, the school superintendent, and several others. Cahoe had been secretly planting explosives for months. There were even more explosives planted in the south wings that rescuers found that hadn't yet been detonated. Due to his actions, he killed 45 people and injured 58. And next up is number 2, Yorkshire Ripper, Peter Sutcliffe. Just letting you know, these only get more gruesome. Wandering the halls at Franklin Prison in England, muttering to himself at the age of 73, is Peter Sutcliffe. You may know him better from his other moniker that I mentioned earlier, the Yorkshire Ripper. He claimed the voice of God spoke to him and told him to kill prostitutes. And following this, he is responsible for the murders of at least 13 women, mainly sex workers. He had a rather grisly method for killing his victims, which of course earned him his name. His main method for killing people would be by striking them from behind with a hammer and then repeatedly stabbing them with a knife. So that's where I'm saying it's quite gruesome. And even before he was notorious for killing, he had his run-ins with assault. In 1969, he hit a woman over the head with a stone inside a sock. Then in 1975, he assaulted 3 other women with a hammer and a knife, just as we had mentioned before in his style. Then later, in 1975, he killed his first victim, Wilma McCann. He hit her over the head with a hammer and then stabbed her 15 times in the neck and stomach, just as the way he became known for, and it's what a thing to be known for, you know? Sutcliffe continued these brutal murders until 1980, when the police were finally able to catch him after years of investigation. He is still in prison at the age of 73. On to the last one. Number 1, Luis Alfredo Garavito. If little kids thought Pennywise was the worst of their problems in the 80s and 90s, then they thought wrong. During that time, Luis Alfredo Garavito, dubbed the Beast, preyed on young Colombian boys. Due to the fallout after the Colombian Civil War, there were many homeless children and orphans who picked up odd jobs on the streets. Garavito took this as a twisted opportunity to trick boys between the ages of 6 and 16 into thinking that he had jobs for them. He would dress up as a farmer or a priest, offer them cash. He knew they had no one at home waiting for them. He then held these children as prisoners, torturing and eventually killing them. It wasn't until 1997 that police began to suspect they had a serial killer on their hands due to the mass graves they began to find. Fast forward to 1999, Garavito is tried and confesses to the deaths of 140 children. There are some estimates that say there are upwards of 300 victims.
¿Por qué?
And that clip was just the beginning of a tape by Colombian authorities where Garavito confessed to his crimes. He was charged with 172 counts of homicide and was found guilty of 138 accounts. He was given the maximum prison sentence in Colombia of 40 years since they don't do life sentences. The thing is, he cooperated with police and showed them where the bodies were, so his sentence was reduced to 22 years. So that scheduled him for a release in 2021, which is, right now it's 2019, under 2 years, or pretty much 2 years. As a child murderer, it is expected that he will stay behind bars longer, but who really knows? That is the top 10.
Bro, this video was fire, first and foremost. Thank y'all so much for requesting it. Secondly, these killers on here, man. That was crazy, man. Great video. Like I said during the video, I'm not in the clouds. I'm on Mars right now, so yeah, don't mind me, bro. Anyway, I'm gonna see y'all next time. Peace.